that will allow us to be able to archive this so you can go back to it and look through it again if you ever need to for any reason. This is the Mid-Atlantic Women in Agriculture Wednesday webinars. I do invite my friends and everybody when I do these Wednesday webinars because I feel that in many cases they can be used for across fields. It's not just agriculture, and I think sometimes people get thrown off on that. But I am the geeky web developer person, so the webinars that I usually do are based on social media, based on WordPress, and this one is on Prezi, which is an online presentation tool. So again, my name is Christy Mannering, and I work at the University of Delaware. So I am their web developer, although they recently changed my title to be communication specialist. So, but this is what I want you to think about before we start. Think about how your brain works. So for me, I'm a very visual learner. We're not all that way, but I'm a visual learner, and I am more likely to retain what I've learned if I hear it personalized as a story. So someone's personal story or their personal journey, I'm likely to remember, or if I see it as a series of visual steps. My office is a sort of a go-between for people sometimes. So think about when you're giving driving directions to someone. So if someone gives me driving directions and they're like, Christy, you need to drive 1.5 miles northwest from Bear, Delaware, and 2.5 miles, so I'm going to get dreadfully lost if I don't have my GPS. But if someone tells me, it's right near the Royal Farms in Newark, it's on the opposite corner, then I'll say, oh, okay, I know where that is. It's, you know, it's a landmark, it's a visual cue, and that makes sense to me. So in terms of presentations, Prezi is a very relational way to present things. It's not just a click through to the next slide, click through to the next slide, and you'll see that. But another example is, think about your own house. So when you think about your kitchen right now, you could probably tell me where your toaster is. You could tell me what drawer your pizza cutter's in. You could tell me which way your bed is facing in your bedroom. So these are just different ways our brain works to help us retain something. Granted, you're at your house every day, and so you're going to know where your toaster is. But when you think about in terms of learning something, we get really comfortable with software like PowerPoint for presentations because it's the only thing we use. So changing that technology can be a little, it can be difficult, and we might be saying, no, PowerPoint's fine, it's always worked for me. But I just want to show you that Prezi can give you a more visual, relational cues to presenting something, which I feel makes it more persuasive. I feel it looks more professional and on creative professional because it shows that you're using a new tool and you're willing to make adaptations and be flexible with how you present. So again, it's Prezi, P-R-E-Z-I, and it's at prezi.com. I hear an alarm somewhere. Someone has an alarm somewhere. I'm going to mute everybody real quick, but when we get to the end of this, feel free to... There, I think I muted everyone. Please feel free at the end to unmute and ask me questions if you have any. So let's go. Okay. So this front screen here that says Prezi Basics that you're seeing right now, I guess I should have also, I'm so sorry. Let's go back. I should thank the sponsors. So Mid-Atlantic Women in Agriculture sponsors, I thank you for allowing us the opportunity to share knowledge with each other, because without this collaboration and sharing skill sets and sharing knowledge, there's no way to move forward and to continue improving and sharing our ideas and educating ourselves and others. So this is the main screen. So you're going into a meeting, you pull up your Prezi, and just as if you would pull up a PowerPoint, and this is what the person's going to see, and it's like, oh, what's this? But then it goes through a series. So I chose a newspaper-looking thing for this, just so that you could see the flow. Oh, that's not a good way of showing you things if I'm going to mess it up. All right. So Prezi is a new kind of presentation. Stop it. We'll pause. Okay. And it allows for collaboration. So on the backside, which I'll show you after this presentation, you can share your Prezi with people right from the very beginning. So if you're collaborating with somebody far away, you know, in another state or, you know, another country, they can share with you, and you'll see it's kind of like Google Apps or Google Docs. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Google Apps or Google Docs, but when you share Prezi with somebody and you're collaborating with them, their name pops up in the corner. You can see where they're clicking through. You can see them making edits, and so the Prezis are numbered. Each slide's numbered, and you could have a teammate and say, okay, this slide should be about what a new kind of presentation is. I'm going to work on that. You can edit this part. And they can go and they can work in it while you're working in it, and you're building this presentation together. So PowerPoint doesn't offer that, whereas Prezi allows for collaboration, and collaboration really is key when you're working in any professional setting. And again, I feel like this shows a relational way of sharing information instead of just one stagnant slide after slide. I'm encouraging you to use something new, so encourage new ideas, but I feel that Prezi allows you to tell your story in a different way. So when we first started this, we started in one visual element, and I'm going to give you an example after I'm done yapping at you of another way to do it in more of an educational setting. I've seen people use Prezi almost as if they're using an interactive tool that you would see in a museum, like with touch screens. So I just want to be able to give you other examples. There are templates, just as in PowerPoint, there are templates in Prezi, and many of them are free. The one that you're seeing right now is free. And I don't know, I think there's a lot. There's definitely over 50, and they go in different orders. So if you're showing something relational that you have like one focus and then there's little details to each one, you can start with one and then you can build bubbles all around it. Or if it's a timeline, you can have a more regimented timeline thing like in PowerPoint, but it'll show it from the very beginning. So you'll see the whole timeline at once, and then you'll click through one at a time, and you'll see the relation from this is where we started, this is where we are now, and it just makes it more engaging for the people who you're presenting to. I always share quotes in all my webinars. So this one says, "It is not about the technology, it's about sharing knowledge and information." So I recently on Sunday went to an event called Mascara and Mimosas, and it was for women who are leading change and women who are owners in businesses. And the first thing everyone kept talking about is how they enjoyed the collaborative atmosphere, because we compete with a lot of people, even universities. You know, when you're researching, when you're looking for funding, you're always competing with each other. But how nice it is when you have an opportunity to collaborate and share knowledge with each other and write joint papers and do joint funding and work together, because that's for the greater good. You're going to be able to help more people if you can all work together. So I feel that Prezi allows that very nicely from the very beginning. We're going to mute. Okay, sorry about that, guys. Again, collaboration and standing together. And I think that in an office atmosphere, I'm very fortunate. I work in an office where my colleagues are right here with me. But when I was at the University of Delaware as an undergrad, I'm an adult learner. I actually just graduated at the University of Delaware in May, finally got my bachelor's degree. But I was in human services. We had tons of group projects, and I kept saying, I can't meet at 9 o'clock on a Thursday. I have to be home with the kids, you know. But Prezi allowed us to be able to collaborate with each other. So if I was in my daughter Amelia's room, and I was, you know, helping her dress and sitting there with her, I could pull up Prezi on my phone. So Prezi has an opportunity to download an app and view presentations on your phone. So even before I was getting ready to present, and I didn't have, a computer with me, but I had my phone. I was sitting out in a hallway, and I was like, oh, I'm feeling nervous. I should have gone through it one more time. And I pulled out Prezi on my phone, and I was going through, and I was able to look at that. And that was so nice, to be able to have that. With PowerPoint, I wouldn't have had that. I would have had to, pick up my papers and look through my slides. And this way it was much more discreet that I was having a nervous moment. So that's another cool thing about Prezi. So for the affordability of this, I'm very budget sensitive in everything I do. Prezi is free on its most basic level. If you're an education institution and you have a .edu in your email address, you can get it free with this. It's called Edu Enjoy. You can see on the screen there's Edu Pro and Edu Teams. There's also a new thing called Edu Prezi Business, which I'll tell you about in a little bit. But for the most part, the free templates and the free, you can still manage your privacy and sharing. So one of the things, if you have a public account and it's not through an education system, is everything's public. So everything you create is searchable. People can use your presentation. Of course, your name's going to be on it, but they could use it. Whereas with the free education version of Prezi, you can make it hidden. You can make your presentations hidden. They're not searchable. They're just there for you. Or you can make them public if you do want other people to be able to use what you've worked on. So this is, if you're not in an education institution and you don't want to use the free, it's under $60 a year to do this through the current regular plan. Now, if you need it to be able to have image editing tools and all that other stuff, it costs more. I don't think that's necessary. Most people don't really worry about image editing, and I'll show you there's different filters you can put on images in Prezi once you actually are building anyway. So I think the free version is perfect. So I wanted to show you this. That's Sunny Ramaswamy in that video. I don't know if you know Sunny Ramaswamy, but he works for NIFA, and he's just a pretty amazing speaker. He speaks about food insecurity, which is something I'm very passionate about. So when you are working on a Prezi, think about it as one big canvas. And I'm going to show you really great examples about this. But I also wanted to show you that it does have the ability to embed a YouTube video. So
right now, I want to move on to our next speaker.
Here's the YouTube video. I didn't have to do anything.
Whether we're talking about an innovation, aquaponics, vertical farming for the future, technologies for the future, or the future, the human beings of the future who are going to do this work.
He's introduced.
We are talking about the future.
Very
Sunny Ramaswamy
and easy to do.
Is all about.
So you can see how that works. When you embed a video, it blows up. It's HD quality. It looks great, and it links straight to YouTube. Now, if you don't have an internet connection, obviously, even with PowerPoint, if you don't have an internet connection, a YouTube video is not going to work. That would end up just looking like a picture. But I'm on internet connection, so it works. So here you're hearing music, right? I'm gonna turn this for you. But this was, if you want to do a presentation and you want voiceovers, so you're going through and there's a slide where you don't really have a great picture, you don't want to put too much text, it doesn't, whatever it ends up being, you can put a voiceover under each slide. So you can have a different MP3 file, a different voiceover for each slide, or just for one slide like we just did. This slide was the only one that had the audio. So that's kind of cool. So in one of the examples I'm about to show you, it's a rainforest. So each of the slides is a different animal, and you can hear their animal sound on each slide. So it's pretty cool that it has that feature. So now we're going to look behind the scenes. I'm going to escape this Prezi, and I'm going to go into the edit version, the view of it, so you can see how it was built. So this is what Prezi looks like when you're not presenting. It's not full screen. You can still click through and do all of that, but it's not full screen. You can present remotely with this button, present remotely. So if we didn't have registration through Women in Ag and you wanted everyone to be able to see your presentation. You can use this link and you can email people in your company or your colleagues in your department, and you can say, I would like to discuss this real quick. I put together a quick presentation. You don't have to send them all in PowerPoint and hope that they have the software. You just send this link. And when you send this link, it shows you a maximum of 30 users can follow at the same time on the free account. They don't need to download anything. They don't need to have any special software. So that's really a really cool feature. Another thing that I do a lot, when my son goes and talks, we have our nonprofit is called Bray's Brown Bags, but when Braden, my oldest son, goes and gives talks at schools, we're not always sure if they're going to have Wi-Fi. We're bringing a laptop, we're bringing a flash drive. We don't want to have to depend on the internet. After the presentation's built, you can download it. So when you click download, it allows you to either use a Prezi application where you need to have software on your computer to be able to continue editing it. If you've already built it, you already love it, it's perfectly fine. You're just going to download this with this button. It's warning you that the YouTube video needs an internet connection. But when you click download, you see it's going to end up preparing a zip folder. So what I do is I unzip the folder and I drag all the contents over to a flash drive, and I have that with me anytime he goes to present. So, oh, well, here it is. So it's a zip file. I'm just going to cancel it because I don't need this one. But it allows you to do that. So you, once your presentation's complete, can download it and take it wherever you need to take it, and it'll run on that computer. Another thing you can do, I'm clicking edit now. So edit is the screen in which you're building the presentation. Now, if you look in the top right-hand corner, it has this arrow where you can share the Prezi, which is similar to presenting remotely, but this is where you're asking for collaborators. So you put in their email address and you say, I'm building this presentation, I'd like your help with it. Or can you look and see what I've put together so far? And it allows people to go in and work together. This little gear here will allow you to download each of these screens as a PDF. So you can download sort of like a booklet of what you presented, which is similar to PowerPoint, saving it as slides for people to write notes. So you have this electronic format, you have it in download, and you can have it as a PDF. Now, this is the screen that I was talking about, has numbers. So on the left-hand side is sort of like each slide, which is similar to PowerPoint. Each of these slides has a number 1 through, how many slides do we have? We had 14 slides here. So each has a number, and it just basically shows you the path. So there's these lines all over the place. If I want this one to be number 3 instead of number 4, I drag it up. If I want this whole screen to be another slide, I can, at the bottom left-hand corner, there's an add current view. Add current view, and it takes a screenshot basically, and it puts it down there for me. So I don't need that because I already have it down there, but add current view will take whatever you've just put together on your screen and create a slide of it. But this will go into, I want you to be able to see what it looks like. Okay, so when you're in here, again, very similar to PowerPoint, it's fields. It's like a title field, a subtitle field. But what I want to show you is what it looks like when there's nothing here, because I think that would be easier for you to understand. We'll do my Amazon example soon, but these are my Prezis. That's another great thing. They're all saved into one place. So every presentation that was ever created for school, for work, for anything is all here for me. You can, on the left-hand side, there's folders. So I have a 3B folder. Those are the presentations that Braden uses. If I wanted to have a folder for work, a folder for school, just to help you organize things, very, very similar to Google Docs. Any presentations that are shared with me. So I had a coworker in 2013, Deanna. She created an Ask an Expert presentation, shared it with me. I was able to tinker with it, and then she was able to present it at the Delaware State Fair. So that was really helpful for her. So again, one place for you to store all your presentations, which is really helpful. Now, if we're going to create a new Prezi, you just click the blue button, create a new Prezi, and it's going to take you to this, once it loads, page where you can choose a template. So again, all of these are for the free version of Prezi, and there are other more intricate templates if you want to have the paid version, but I've never needed it so far. So you can see as I'm scrolling through, there's just different ways to look at it. I've always liked the tip of the iceberg one because you can start at the tip and then you can show, that analogy, oh, well, this is just the tip of the iceberg, where you can visually show it in a way where people are going to remember, oh, that makes sense, that was at the top. This one with the world map, you can have any location. You could have a map of Maryland, you could have a map of Delaware, and you could have little circles on each different city, and you could say, Delaware is known for peaches, Delaware is known for ladybugs, you can do it like that. It doesn't have to be a world map, obviously. This is just giving you ideas on how you can organize things. So here's one that says vital signs. There's the newspaper headline one that I used. Mission to Mars is interesting. It's more like for a school science project, I would imagine. All these different ideas here. I'm still scrolling. These are all free, and they just, even from the very beginning, they're giving you your blank canvas. And so it's really exciting to start. If you have a general idea and you know how you want to go through step by step, it's really cool. Here's a chalkboard one. It's perfect for teachers. Not where there's a journey. So again, it's just a visual way of mapping things. But I want to give you an example of the Amazon animals, which I love this presentation. It looks so cool. It almost looks 3D. So this obviously isn't mine. This is one that someone has shared publicly. So they're teaching people about Amazon animals. And you go through, you have the bird, you can hear the bird. And then it pops up with the screen of what this bird is. This is a macaw, and it goes through. And you're hearing the rainforest, you have the birds. This is a very basic teaching tool, but you could do this for anything. You could do it you could take a picture of your farm and you could have it piece by piece. This is our dairy farm. These are the silos. This is where our cornfields are, our soybeans. There's just a whole bunch of options here, and it's just so persuasive because it's fun to click through. You feel like you're there. You're part of the experience. Manatees, they're my favorite. Okay, so when we get to the end, I don't like snakes. You're going to see what their bigger canvas picture is. Butterflies. Okay, so this is their end screen. This is where they started. Amazon Animals was in the beginning. They started with this beautiful picture with the trees and the waterfall, and then they added the different animals on top of it in their transition slides. So it would be the whole screen. The bird, the macaw, would have been number 1. The box that was the information box for the bird was number 2. So it goes through different transitions, and then you go to another animal. But this can work for anything. This is just one example. So the Prezi Gallery, when you're logged on to Prezi.com, this gives you a myriad of things. I chose education, but there's marketing, there's sales, there's HR. These are how people are using Prezi. I've used it to create an annual report before. You can use it in conferences. I find it fascinating to see how other people have used it. So this person used a picture of a book as their background. And they zoom in on the book, right? So this is more engaging and feels like you're being told a story. So you're going through the book. And this, to me, it is more persuasive to me to hear something this way than it ever could be in a more standard PowerPoint presentation. So let's go in. I don't know what to choose. We'll just choose this white space one. Okay, so I chose a template instead of choosing from scratch. From scratch isn't as fun if you don't already have an idea. But here we go. This is the first screen people will go to. You click to add your title. Easy enough, right? So then you're going to your second screen. You click to add text. You click to add subtopics. But up here at the top where it has insert and customize, now on the right-hand side, you can change the colors. So if you have branding at the company that you're working for and you want it to have the same colors as your logo, you have an opportunity to do that there under customize. There's also insert. So the only feature here that we can't use are the charts because it's a pro feature. But this is where you would insert an image. It already has images here. You can do, it uses a Google search. So we want to find images of corn. So there are images of corn, and then you can drag it into in your presentation. This is similar to the search filter that PowerPoint has, but you're more likely to get clip art through PowerPoint, where this is regular photographs, which I feel are very helpful. Or you can select, that's my audio jungle folder, but do I have any images on my desktop? We have our new president of UD. So now I have a picture that I've grabbed from a Google search and a picture that I uploaded, and there's corner on each of the corners. It's very simple. You just drag to change the size. It allows you to have effects. So you could add a frame to it. It just allows you to customize it a little bit more. You can add a filter to it, similar to if you use Instagram or other tools that allow you to change pictures with filters. And this is all part of the free version. I don't want to do any color fixing, but you get the point. So when you add an image to a Prezi, you have a lot of different things that you can do with it right off the bat. Now, let's say we're going to go to the next one, and we're going to say, well, we're learning about corn. What else? Corn pests. So you can go and add a YouTube file. So Cooperative Extension at the University of Delaware, we have different videos, different Master Gardener videos, different videos from our plant disease people, our plant pathologist people. They're all on YouTube. We could put the link in here and it would insert it just as the Sunny Ramaswamy one in my example before, and it would insert it into this very easily. Another thing that I had in the presentation I showed you was that you can do voiceovers. So now we're on this slide here, and we go to insert. You can add background music to the whole presentation if you just have like a loop of background music you want to play. But if you want just this one to have audio, you go to insert, add voiceover to path step number 4. So you can see right away where it's going to go. Interestingly enough, you can also insert a PowerPoint slide into Prezi if you have the desire to do that. And you can insert a PDF. So that's how I inserted the sponsorship slide. Victoria had sent me a PDF of it. I had it. I was able to insert it straight into Prezi. And there it is. So you can insert videos, images, audio, PDFs, and even PowerPoints. A variety of things you can insert into your Prezi. You go to the next one. You go to the next one, and you see the flow of it. And this is all going around like this. So in conclusion, it's going to end in the middle. We go through, and bam. So it's this visual way of looking. So we started off with this grand idea. It had a title at the top. We heard about 5 different elements of this idea. And then it pans back out, it shows you the great big picture again, and then your next click zooms into a conclusion. So you could never have that with PowerPoint. You could have your conclusion slide, but it would just be at the end, and then you would say thank you, and where's the questions. But with Prezi, it just makes it more engaging and visually stimulating. So if you are trying to go to a company and persuade them to use one of your tools, or you're trying to persuade someone on getting funding, or you're trying to get a sponsor for an event, using Prezi for that it's like having your own marketing tool that is very, very free, and once you get in, pretty easy to use. So you'll notice some of these slides had squares, and then our last one had a circle. So you can change here on the left-hand side. I'm hovering over it. You can choose what you want your frame to look like. And then if you also, in PowerPoint, you have the title, subtitle, and then it gives you different layouts. In Prezi, it is here under Insert and Layouts. And then it'll open up on the right-hand side. And you have different layouts there. You also have a multi-frame. So if you're trying to show a relational effect and you want it to be, you know, everything, like one of these looks like everything's going down into a funnel. You click it, drag it over, and now if you notice on the left-hand side, it has added each transition into the presentation for you. So in the conclusion, it looks like this, it almost looks like a martini glass or something. But if you click on it, it zooms in, you have this whole other like mini presentation inside your presentation. And it's going to go through each step. It did all those transitions for you. You didn't have to line them up yourself. When you go into Insert, Layouts, you have single frame and multi-frame. You choose how you want it to look. You can see some of these look like scales. You know, you have an idea and then you have three things and they're tipping the scale. Imagine the different ways that you can use it. So those are the most basic parts of Prezi. I know it's a lot of information. I go through things really, really fast. But I do encourage you to go through and poke around like I do. It's really just, it's a tool that can do so much. And in fact, if we ever do an advanced Prezi, the business version of Prezi, it offers analytics. So if you're sending this presentation out as a link to people and you want to know how they're clicking through it, it has that tool in the premium version. So let's say you're trying to market something or sell something, you're starting a new farmer's market. You want to send out a presentation about the different things you'll be offering and the different times of the summer people will be able to get it, the different locations. You create a Prezi, you send it out to people. Well, you don't know, did they open it? Did they look through it? How many slides did they get through? Did they spend a lot of time on one of the slides? And the Prezi professional version allows that. It'll show you almost your return on investment. So I created a 12-slide presentation. People got 3 slides in and then they turned it off. So obviously that one's not working. And that's how you test different things out. So it's really interesting. I got through all of this in 30 minutes and now I realize how fast I talked. But I'm hopeful that you guys will have some questions for me. So if there's anything I went through that you didn't quite understand or anything that you had questions about, please, please, please put it in the chat window in your toolbar. Hopefully you can see it in your toolbar. And I will click through some more examples. Sometimes it gets your ideas flowing when you can see different examples.
Hi, Christy. This is Ruth Hamilton from Illinois.
Oh, hello.
And I'm enjoying your presentation immensely and kind of going alongside here with you. Okay. How do I add another slide into this? I seem to be stuck where the path is on one slide. Maybe you showed that and I missed it.
So most of the templates come out with multiple slides, but if you're starting from scratch, on the screen that I have up right now, do you see in the upper left-hand corner, it has like a plus sign with a square?
I see it.
If I click it, it adds that slide in there for me. And it added it at number 7 because that must have been where I was last clicked. But you can put that See how I'm dragging it on the left-hand side up and down? So it added a new slide for me, and now I want it to be here. And now it zooms in so you can work on it. So then if I'm in the corn one, if I wanted to add what corn husks look like or what different corn pests looks like, I, in the upper left-hand corner, choose that I want a new frame. I add the new frame. It can be over here where people won't be really looking at it, but then when I do my next click, it'll zoom into there. Do you see? So you can add different layers of something. And then in the bigger picture, you don't really see the one that I had added to slide number 3 because it's so teeny tiny there. We have a question about text, data, and graphs. So you mean like you can copy text onto a slide. Zoom in for me. So if I had a Word document and I needed to copy it in here, it would just be like you would copy text anywhere. You can do copy and paste. And here, for the graphs, you can import anything as an image. There are charts here, which it's going to tell me we don't have that. So if you want Prezi to do charts for you, so if you have a spreadsheet and you want Prezi to create the chart for you, similar to what Excel would do, you have to have this, the pro version of Prezi. I've never needed to use it that way. But if you have Excel open, you have your data in Excel, it makes the graph for you in Excel, and you take a screenshot of that, you can input that. And asking, when you search for the image, are those images that are free for anyone to use? It's a really good question. Let's see if it tells us. I know some of them, when they pop up, they have like a credit with them. I'm pretty sure that all of these are, well, it's going too fast. I'm going to delete this and do it again. When I drag this over and you see it loading, in the URL there, it has static.prezi.com. So that particular image is something that you can use. It's uploaded into their library for you to be able to use. Does that answer your question? I'm hopeful that all of them are like that. I signed up for, so what version am I using? I'm currently using Enjoy. So so I use it for braids brown bags for what my son does. So are we saying that that is not working for the free version? So when you go to image insert, it only has the upload field for you, Lauren? No, Elizabeth asked that question. Elizabeth, when you go to insert an image, does it not have the search? It only has an upload? If you could type in the chat to let me know or turn your mic on, it takes me directly to my folders. Maybe I can log out and create a new thing for you so I can see what you're seeing. Let me create one. Oh, it's not going to, because I already have mine in there. Yeah, I can't even create a free account right now. Sorry about that. I've been using it for 3 years, and I always remember it having that search. So Now I feel bad for not knowing that answer for you. Only Pro, EduPro, and Enjoy licenses have the search feature. Well, thank you for sharing that, Elizabeth. I remember when I was using it back in 2013, it had that. Maybe they've made it so that they want more people to purchase it. I mean, that makes financial business sense for them. So obviously we all can use Google search as at google.images, but then you do have to change the filter. When you guys use Google Images, so when you go to Google and you're doing the Google image search, when you go and use search tools, I hope you guys can still see my screen. If you go to search tools and you go to usage rights, in this drop down, it's sort of like the advanced layers of an image search. It will show you what is labeled for reuse. So there's these 4 different options here: labeled for reuse with modification, labeled for reuse, labeled for non-commercial reuse. And when you click on one of those, it then brings you to images that you're allowed to use that don't have copyright issues in Google Images. So it's really, really nice to have it all built into Prezi. I don't have to have 2 tabs open and go back and forth, but you can still use Google Images and know and feel confident that the images you're choosing are ones you're allowed to choose if you go to the search tools and do the labeled for non-commercial reuse like that. I hope that that helps. I don't know if everyone knows about that Google image feature, but then you're going to have 2 tabs open and save the image to your desktop and then upload it as if it were something on your computer. So I apologize that the free edition did not allow you to do that. Does the free edition allow me to record my voiceover? I'm feeling really nervous now because I did not know that. Let me open up another browser. Slowly. All right, so I just now created a free public, not EduPublic, but free public version of Prezi with my other email address. And we will see if it allows those other features once it loads. What was the YouTube question? I see. I do not see a YouTube question. Can you repeat it, please? I'm scrolling. Is it possible to download a YouTube for use in a non-internet setting? There are some YouTube videos that do allow for you to download them as a .mp4. I don't know that a lot of people, there's not legal, let me see. Legally, if YouTube says that there's a download link, it'll be where the share button is when you're viewing the YouTube video. Some people will allow you to download it as an MP4. There are ways to strip the video out of a YouTube URL, but that wouldn't be particularly legal. There are ways to do that, but the best thing would be to contact the person who posted the YouTube video and ask if you can have it. I don't want to suggest something that will end up getting you into any trouble. Oh, you're welcome. Okay, so now can you see my screen now where I'm logged in as a completely different user right now because I just created a public one? In the public one that I just created with my other email address, you can add a voiceover to each step. That option is there. You can't see my screen right now? Okay. How do I new share? All right. Can you see my screen now? Okay, awesome. So now I'm in a different browser, so I'm logged in as a different person. This is not under the edu one. This is the public free. I didn't use my .edu because I had already used it. So this is my Gmail regular email, and it has the add voiceover to path step 1. So you can put a voiceover to each slide in the free version. Let's see. Okay, but you're absolutely right. When I clicked insert image, it did not bring me to the search. So that adds an extra step to you when you're looking for images, which is frustrating. So I apologize about that. I didn't realize it was a pro feature to have that. But you can still always go to the Google search, use the search tools to make sure that the image you're grabbing is reusable per copyright rules. So were there other questions pertaining to the free version that you guys are probably signed up for right now? As opposed to the pro version that I was using Enjoy, which is the $59 per year user account. And just to reiterate, the $50 per year user account, in addition to allowing for that image search, it makes it easier for me to adjust the privacy settings for each one of my things. So if I only want people to access it because I provide them a link, then I don't have to worry about it being searchable. I'm going to show you what I mean by that in just a second when this is done. Okay, so on the screen right now where it's spinning loading presentation, because it really doesn't have a presentation to load, there's a button on the right hand side of that slide that says public and reusable. So in the Enjoy $59 per year version, I can drag this down to hidden. I cannot make a presentation hidden unless I have the pro version or unless I have the free education version. The free education version should allow you to make your presentation hidden even though you're on free. Because my University of Delaware email address is already attached to another account, I can't test that for you right now. I don't have another email address to test it. But if you guys have logged in for the free education version, you should be allowed to adjust your privacy settings that way, and that's where you would do it. Here in this area. Another thing that you can do is when you're titling things, you can turn off comments or you can add a description. So if you have maybe an abstract idea that you would like, a paragraph that you would like to go along with your presentation, you would put it there. Oh, embedding. Oh, I see download says it's pro too. So you would not be able to download it and make it an offline presentation if you were not in pro. So that's another thing. So the $59, it's not a bad deal. What is that, $4 and something a month? Then the other thing is you can embed it. So if you have a website or a blog and you want to be able to share your presentation that way, it gives you the code to embed it. And that's all in this area. Were there any other questions? So pro version. Yes, so the pro version, yes, anywhere you log in, you can use it. If I'm logging in on my son's computer, if I'm logging in a computer lab in a library, if I'm logging in on my laptop versus my desktop, yes. Once your username, your email address is, you can use it anywhere you want. It's not so much, it's not like software license because you're not downloading software. Is there any area for speaker notes like there is in PowerPoint? I want to say no. I do not believe there is. I don't recall seeing that. When you go to download as a PDF is also a pro. I was just going to say if you download it as a PDF onto your computer, you could put your notes in through the PDF, but it doesn't look like it has that innately in here. I don't see that. These are all very good questions, by the way. I will show you. So share on Facebook literally just pops up something. That's not me. Oh, share on Facebook will pop it up and you can share it to your Facebook page and it links to your presentation. Let's see, am I still okay, I'm logged in, right? Oh, I got click happy there. Let me log in and we'll see. My Prezis. I'm just going to share it to my public Facebook page and we'll see what happens when I click on it. When we shared our annual report from Prezi, we had embedded it into our website. So when we shared it to Facebook, we didn't share it directly from Prezi. We had it embedded on our domain, and then when people clicked on it from Facebook that way, they ended up going to our website. Why is this being difficult? There we go. Make it only me, so we post it real quick and we'll go. Okay, so we just shared this sample teaching Prezi to Facebook, and it looks like, okay, it just takes a person. Well, see, I'm logged in. I imagine it would take you here. You wouldn't be logged in, and it would allow you to be able to click through with the arrows. It wouldn't allow you to edit anything or save it or anything like that. It would just click through with the arrows. So that's how the share on Facebook works. Any other questions?